What's up, everybody? Welcome to another show, Sports Edition from Upper Level Production. I'm Osiris.
Thurman.
What's going on, everybody? I hope you guys had a wonderful weekend. We both sure did, especially during these NFL playoffs. And that's what we love about these shows because we get to talk about things like this. And Thurman, there was a lot of good games this weekend. I'm sure you enjoyed most of them because Thurman was the prophet this weekend. Because from our last show, we was doing this little front bracket. In the bottom, we're just keeping a front score, no game, I mean, no money involved. We're just doing this for fun. And like I said, Thurman, you was a prophet last weekend, so we're gonna go over the games you picked and the wrong picks that I got. So it was a good weekend for Thurman, bad weekend for me. So money was involved. Thurman is good this weekend. So let's go over that. So on our first game, we have the Chargers and the Houston Texans, Thurman, and Texas pulled out that game. And not only did they pull out that game, they destroyed the Chargers. It was the score was 31-12.
32-12.
12, but Justin Herbert with 14, 32 completions with 242 yards, one touchdown, but four interceptions. Take it away, Thurman.
Uh, so we both picked the Chargers on this one.
Fourth there, so we can't say it'd be like,
this one was very disappointing. I expected more from Herbert. I expected more from Harbaugh. Pardon I'm butchering your name, but from his kind of teams. There was like confusion. It was a disaster. The four turnovers, the four interceptions was just like no team could ever come back from that.
Thurman, the way they played, it seemed like they never got off the plane.
Yeah, it
For,
really
for,
did.
for me, from start to finish, they didn't play, like you said, with that hardball energy football team. I didn't see it. I didn't feel it. Once, one interception in the playoffs was bad, but when it went to two, three, and four from there, once you went to your second one from there on, I was like, this game is over because in the season you throw two interceptions. Yeah, in the football, it's football. You don't want to do that, but in the playoffs, that just ends your season. So I was very disappointed on their performance yesterday. So let's move on from that game.
Yeah, pish posh.
So the second game from Saturday's game, which was a hell of a game, was to do with Denver and the Buffalo Bills. Excuse me, I'm wrong. It's the Steelers and the Ravens. I don't know why I'm jumping. My bad, everybody. That game Saturday night. What do you think about that game? Because you picked the Baltimore Ravens. I had picked the Pittsburgh Steelers. So again, that was one of my losses that came Saturday at 4:30 in the afternoon. 28-14, Thurman.
Well, I think Lamar Jackson was the difference. Every time they would square up and try to stop Henry, Lamar would take the ball and run it. The passing game wasn't really there, but he would find his little spots here and there, hitting Andrews for big third down games. And, I think the Ravens. The reason why I picked them was they just. I think they figured it out. Which is scary for me as a Chiefs fan. I think they figured it out, and I think with the dual threat of Derrick Henry and then Lamar Jackson, and then the fact that he can throw it and he can throw a bullet, the Ravens are a tough team this year.
One thing about Lamar Jackson, you just said about throwing the ball, I think he became a better passer this season than he did in his previous years.
Sure
So,
did.
Derrick Henry ran for 186 yards.
Could have been 200, but
So, yeah, I know. I think by the sometime like you said, and yeah, I think you mentioned to me earlier that the team kind of like stopped playing sometime in the
the fourth quarter, yeah, they were just
I
like,
mean,
yeah.
because when they're on, Derrick Henry became unstoppable. Lamar Jackson, he added 175 yards with two touchdowns and no interceptions, 16 out of 21. So I picked Pittsburgh, and the reason why I picked Pittsburgh is because I thought that one, I thought Mike Tomlin would have figured it out because the majority of the games he's winning against the Ravens, Pittsburgh wins. I just thought that the last game when they won, that's not a fluke. Not saying it's as a fluke. Sorry about it for the fire department. But I just thought that was one of those. Okay, you got us this time. You got us this one game. We'll get you. We'll get you next time because we have a history of getting you. So, but at this time, that didn't come. So he was right about that pick.
You know what I think killed you guys was the fourth and one situation. There was a chance where Tomlin could have went for fourth and one. It was very short. It was not even one. But he decided to punt it, and I think they lost. I think he kind of lost his team, lost his momentum from there.
Because
They did wake up in the second quarter, second half, but I just feel like that was just too much.
One thing in the playoffs, especially in the playoffs, especially you see other teams doing it. I mean, I think everybody's trying to be like Detroit now, which is I think is great. Is going on 4 downs, and I think that if they would have went, whether they got the down or not, but you put that belief in your players that yo, we're gonna get that down. So I kind of understand when you get it. Also, TJ Watt had no sacks, so that to me was also a key thing why they lost because bro, Baltimore up front was just double teaming TJ Watt. They made no adjustment, so it was brutal to watch. Out of the 2 games that we watched on Saturday, that was the most brutal and I picked Pittsburgh. So again, Thurman was the prophet. I give him Saturday's game. He got well, excuse me, we both lost the Chargers game, but still you picked Baltimore to win. So I'm giving Thurman the weekend for Saturday.
Bounce back.
Mhm.
Broncos and the Bills. Oh, what a blowout! What a blowout! What a blowout! We both picked Buffalo, but I thought it would be a more closer game than what this game was. And for the first 3 minutes, it kind of was. When Broncos got the 7-0 touchdown. And Buffalo just, took their time. It was a low scoring game for the first half, but then the second half, it just like Broncos Broncos didn't do what they needed to do, and the Bills did what they needed to do. Josh Allen, kudos to him. Sure, Cyrus will go over the stats with him, but I thought it was out of all the games, this was the game that actually I was falling in and out of sleep.
The reason why I picked Buffalo is because what I said about Denver's quarterback. Nothing, going next, got a great season. I hope nothing but the best for you, but I just think that because it's your first playoff, it was a bad matchup for you personally because you're going up against Josh Allen, is why I favored more the Buffalo Bills win this one. But the first thing, what I wanted to say, because I was saying when I was saying earlier when we started the subject, was even though the score is 31-7, I just didn't want you to be like I'm glad that you brought it up that it was more like 10-7 going into the somewhere going in the middle of the third, and that's when Buffalo um exploded.
You got him.
So I don't want the 31-7 to be misleading, even though yeah, it was 31-7, like, but it wasn't like they were spanking them the whole game. So
The Broncos defense was tired
yeah,
at the end of the day, and like good teams, what they do is to back. Well, I'm not going to call Broncos a bad team, but
I'm glad you brought
they
it up.
just beat them down. Where it was just at the by the second half, the defense just was out of gas.
Yeah, because time of possession, I think it was like 40 minutes for Buffalo.
Yeah, it was somewhere along those lines. Yeah.
So when you're 4 and out, 4 and 9, now your defense is on the field, and again, you can have a great defense, but if they're playing every snap, almost every snap, because your offense is not staying on the field, I don't care how great your defense can be, you're gonna get tired. And I just think that third quarter it just started wearing down, and that's when Buffalo just took the lead on it from there. Second game was between Packers and the Eagles. Man, I thought that would be a closer game, Thurman. We both picked Philly to win that game.
I was surprised the way Green Bay played. I thought it'd be more of a closer game. The Eagles' offense was kind of rusty. Like Jayden coming back from concussion protocol, hasn't played in 3 weeks.
You mean the offense was rusty?
Yeah, Philly's offense.
Yeah.
Their defense was amazing. They were stout. They were as advertised. So like I wasn't surprised that Philadelphia won that lopsided, but I was more surprised the fact that Green Bay just didn't even show up.
I was surprised. I picked Philly as well. Um, um, I was surprised with the Jordan Love interceptions. That I was surprised in the way they lost. Philly, but I do have some concerns with Philly's offense because it didn't look so like overwhelming to me. Like it was just like they were just it stalled out too much. Barkley went off with 119 yards, 25 carries, but it still was like for Jalen Hurts,
Holly
for Jalen
should have got a
Hurts,
touchdown.
Jalen Hurts 13 out of 21. AJ Brown was reading a book. I mean, their passing game is a concern for me moving forward, especially when they're playing the Rams this weekend, which we will go over. So that I kind of like. That's like my second kind of like.
See, I worry about the offensive line at the same time, but again, I think
You
a
think
lot of that.
I think Jalen Hurts is more.
I think it's more the hurts than him being rusty coming back from
Yes,
concussion protocol.
yes.
I think now the rust is off. the offensive line. He can get more in a rhythm. I mean, it all depends on how um, calls out the games. You got to get him into a rhythm. And I get it. Your temptation is going to be give the ball to Saquon first. Just keep feeding him first. But you might want to do a couple play actions, get him into a rhythm, keep him going, and then feed him with Saquon.
If this was during the season, cool. But it's the playoffs.
I get it.
One and done. So I hope the passing game gets together, especially if I
Well,
do have the ball.
here's the great thing about Philly, though. Here's the great thing about Philly. They got the defense to allow their offense to, you know, go by their game plan. I suggest.
I see that, but also it could also bite them in the end. It bite them the other way around as well, because if you expose the defense so much on playing, then defense can play. We'll see how it goes, but I just think that their passing game, just like AJ Brown needs to get involved. I think just getting him involved a little bit more. Devontae Smith did his thing, Barkley did his thing. It's just the Jordan Love to AJ Brown, and just Jordan Love the way. If that could step up more, then I got the Eagles going, to the AFC. The third game of Sunday's game was I think the best game. I think the best game out of the weekend to me was the Washington and Tampa Bay game. You have picked Washington, I picked Tampa Bay. So again, kudos to Thurman. Um, but what was your takeaway from that game? Because that was like from front to back.
It's pretty much, and if you go back on last week's take, it's pretty much what I kind of thought the game would be. Jayden, if he doesn't turn the ball over, he's going to have slow starts, but you give him opportunities, he's going to capitalize. And then Baker, it past history has shown like there's a couple moments where he'll turn the ball over late. It doesn't happen often, but it's like when the pressure's up there. I mean, something usually happens, and I don't think this particular fumble was his fault, but just the fact that he's usually involved or around those kind of situations. So it came out the way I kind of figured it would come out. Washington winning off of a field goal.
Um, Jada Daniels went for 24 to 35, 268 yards, two touchdowns.
Yeah,
He was the best player on the team yesterday, on both sides of the team. And mind you, from last, I picked Tampa Bay because I thought that even though Daniels had a hell of a season for a rookie, I thought that he'll have that playoff
the rookie hiccup.
rookie hiccup, which I was going to, forgive him for because, the environment.
Well, I can't imagine because look what happened to Bo Nix.
But, but it was the opposite.
Yeah,
So
good enough.
that was that to me. That's why I think this weekend that to me was one of the best games because not only how the outcomes of it, but just being like he was the star uh, to me this whole weekend, which I thought opposite. So that's why I picked Tampa Bay. The snap with Baker Mayfield, I think that's what caused the whole season. It was a bad snap, came at the wrong time because they were up 20. I think they were up 27.
No, it was tied.
No, they were.
No, they were up 20-13.
Yeah.
You're right.
Um,
And then that gave him the chance for Jayden to come down and score that touchdown.
so that to me is where they lost. So it was battlefield between the center and the Baker Mayfield. But other than that, yeah. Kudos to Washington as an organization because that was their first win in 19 years.
Going for Magic Johnson.
Um, the second round, I feel bad for them, but but
We'll get to
as
that.
far as this weekend, I think if I was to pick the MVP of this weekend, it would be Jada Daniels. Yeah.
I would agree. I agree. Yeah.
Not just the numbers, but just
Just the grit, the clutch. And again, it was the best game of the weekend.
mhm.
Um, wasn't the last game of the weekend. We can move into your boys.
Well, yeah, it was just my final game was between the Rams and the Vikings. Thurman had picked the Rams, and I had picked the Vikings. Uh, Thurman, I'm gonna let you take this one because again, you got the W, and take it away, Thurman.
So here's where the one thing I won't gloat about, and I thought Vikings would actually kind of make it a game, and then just give up the turnover at the end of the game because of nerves and the pressure that comes along. I thought it would be a great shootout. Um, but the Rams did what I thought they would do. They came in firing hot. They kind of tailed off in the end, and that's kind of a bit concerning. But they came on firing hot. They were out there. Next thing I know is 24 nothing. No? And then Vikings is like, hey, we can make it a show 24-10-9. But yeah, I told you guys, Sam Donald, I don't trust him. I didn't think he had the moxie for playoffs. The Vikings versus the Lions game was like the concrete that made it was a stamp for me. And I was like, you know what? You're gonna be disappointed in this one. And I told you what we
The Vikings, they disappointed me because I didn't expect them to play the way they came out and played last night. I said last week that I thought that they was going to do like a comeback from the way they got manhandled by the Lions, and I called them the true number three NFC team. They played like they was like the number 12 seed last night.
I'm playing.
Um, so when I said the Chargers never got off the plane, the Vikings never got on the plane. It was a 27-9 spank down. The Ra- the Rams defense played like the Lions defense. I think, they copied the way they did it. They got at Sam Donald. The front line for he was sacked 9 times. The front line, I don't want to put the full blame on Sam Donald because the front line didn't protect him at all. So if you don't, I don't care what kind of quarterback you are, from great to the goods. If your front line doesn't protect you, you're gonna have a hard time doing that whole game. I picked the Vikings to win, but even though let's say the Vikings, because when you had picked the Rams last week, I was not kind of surprised because I know what the Rams are capable of. I just didn't expect this beat down. So I give you this one, and I'll give you this one, and I'm gonna say for me, and the way they lost, this was for me the biggest upset for me for the weekend out of all the games I played last weekend.
Mine was the Chargers.
You have the Chargers.
Mine was the
What,
Chargers.
what,
Well, obviously because it's the only game that I lost. But yeah, I just like I expected more from the Chargers. I knew the Vikings was gonna lose. I just didn't know they were gonna lose that bad. But yeah, I expected more from the Chargers, way more from the Chargers than what I got from them in that game. Like I could get it if they lost close, but the Chargers is not.
so that was our weekend game this weekend.
So let us know what you think. Did your teams win? Did you pretty much on par with us, or you
What
on par with me, or par with
what
Cyrus?
teams did you pick? Let us know if you were disappointed. Let us know which one was your most disappointing or upset game from the weekend. But man, but that's what makes it fun, though.
Like, comment, subscribe. Let us know.
So we move on to the next round of the NFL playoffs because now we're down to 14 teams.
Yeah, we're down to eight
18,
teams,
sorry,
four games.
4 games. So we're down to 4 games, 8 teams. We're down to the
Kansas City Chiefs, stand up, Chief Kingdom versus the Houston Texans.
Thurman, who you got picking winning that game, and obviously I know who it is. So Thurman, take it away.
It's a late afternoon game, so we guys get to sleep in a little bit more. It's not going to be an easy game. I'm going to be the first one to admit it. I'm a little nervous with Texas pass rush, but of course I'm going for Chiefs all the way.
I got the Chiefs as well. We're both picking because I got them going for the Super Bowl as well. Right, Thurman? But I'm going to ask you this question later after all our picks. But you mentioned it. Their pass rush. I think they have the best pass rush left in the playoffs from all the teams. Not saying they have the best defense all around, because I still give that to the Eagles. But as far as just their pass rush that you mentioned, I think they will be very disruptive for Kansas City, especially on the left tackle. I think Nico, the coach for the Houston Texans, he's a very smart defensive-minded coach. I think he knows that even though CJ Stroud in the offense got to put up points, but I think he knows the defense to say, I got to put pressure. I got to keep that offense off the. So if I got KC winning, but it wouldn't surprise me if Texas wins. Just so the next game we got is the Lions and the Commanders. Good, Derby. Who you got winning this game, Derby?
Commanders,
You got Commanders?
Your playoff run stops now.
Uh,
However, if you do win this game, I know the recipe that you will have to use and you will most likely would use. It, I can, but I don't think that your defense is that good to stop this offense. I think your defense is playoff caliber defense, and if you have a shot, is that defense is going to score for you. As well as Jayden doing his thing. But I don't see that happening because I do see Detroit with a consistent offense. I do think this is going to be a shootout because, again, as good as the Lions defense is and as good as Aaron Glenn is coaching that defensive squad, I do think Jayden will pull out some tricks here and there, probably keep it close. Um, but again, the Lions will. Hey, yeah, Lions is going to win this.
I got the Lions by a blowout.
Hey,
I got the Lions by a blowout because no disrespect to Daniels and the Commanders, but you're playing against a team that offensively nobody has stopped them. Like, if you really think about it, they could score 40 in you, right? Because they have history of doing that. I think they're most teams. I think they're the number one team in scoring most 40 points in the season. They're the number one team in the NFC. Um, when you bring up your defense, I have no problem because why? After 13 players going down on the IR, Thurman, they still won 3 games and got the number one seed. And last time, in the last game they played, how was their defense? It was remarkable. They stopped, and they were the only team I think stopped Detroit. I mean Minnesota, the way they did, the way they manhandled the Vikings. That was a 13 man minus defense. They ranked seventh. Even with 13 man down, they still ranked seventh overall in defense, the Lions. So I think you're sleeping on the Lions defense because of the 13s, and that this is a bad matchup for Washington. Because this is not going to be a slow game for Washington.
Montgomery's, there's a chance that he might come back to play this game. Knowing the fact that you have Washington, would you play?
For Sonic and Knuckles, if he's frustrated to play, why not? And especially now, I need him to get his reps because to me, if I expect Philly to win their next game, I need all my horses to play against Philly.
Or when if you run risk of injury?
This is the NFL, Thurman. Injuries can happen. I've seen injuries, people running on the field and, and their Achilles pop. So from excitement, I've seen that. I think from the 49ers. Forgot his name there. He just ran to the field as soon as the game started and he popped his Achilles. So injuries happen anytime. So, but I have Detroit winning like 40-20.
You guys think this is gonna be a blowout? Let us know. Let us know. Send it in the comments, please.
All right, perfect. That was Saturday's game, 8 o'clock. The Lions and the Washington. Check it out. I think that's going to be a great game. Playing at Detroit too, so
It's gonna be loud.
it's going to be loud in that building. Sunday we have a 3 o'clock game. It's going to be the Rams and the Eagles. I think I know who we picking, Thurman, but carry away, man.
All right, folks. This is one of my hand over my eye kind of pick because I'm picking Philadelphia. Mainly because, and we'll get a little bit into this, but out of all the 4 games that's going to happen, this is the game that I'm going to get a little sweaty. Mainly because the Rams, they got an offensive force. They can hit you with all powers and effort defense. They can, still get you. Philly has that great defense, and can it stop that Rams offense? Who knows? I think they can, but it's not going to be easy. And Philly's offense in itself is, coming off the rust, and I think it's rust. So I think their offense is going to improve increasingly. But
So I'm picking Philly as well, Terry, because I think their defense plays physical, and I think that's the X. If you ask me which will be the X factor for Philly to win this game, I think it's the entire defense, especially their front line. Because if they play physical, if they play physical, they move men like boys. So if they continue to do that, especially against this Ram offense, because they got to slow down Cooper. Rams don't let a running game like that. So So the Eagles shouldn't have an issue with that. My only issue with the Eagles is their offense, their passing game. The only not Barkley, because handing to Barkley, that's a cheat code. But I just think their passing game with like you said, if you want to call it Russ, I agree. Also because of the concussion protocol, because he didn't play it, compounded with the Russ because he hasn't played. I agree with you 100% on that. But I wouldn't be surprised from if the Rams wind up beating the Eagles only for that reason. It's which offense is going to show up because the Rams offense, like you said, with Cup and Stafford, and I think they could go. The Baltimore Ravens and the Buffalo Bills. Thurman, I know you. Who you got picking this team? I think this was a hard one for you, right?
This was hard. I'm picking Baltimore. And the reason why this is pretty hard for me is because either one of these teams is going to face Kansas City, and either of these teams, I'm just hoping that they beat each other up.
So, what is it? Would you want more Buffalo than Baltimore? Because you're picking Baltimore to win, but you got to see Buffalo.
All right.
You got to see one of
So I'm picking Baltimore because I'm a smart man and I'm logically picking Baltimore, and I feel Baltimore can win this game and will win this game at the end of the day. Now, Buffalo. If Kansas City sees Buffalo again,
I'm saying again, but
you know what I'm saying? If they see them again, would I say, hey, does KC got an extra chip on their shoulder and call it a revenge game? Or vice versa, where if Baltimore goes into Kansas City and going for their revenge game from earlier this year because of a toe. So, like, do I want like I would prefer Buffalo to win this game. However, my pick is going to be Baltimore.
Today I heard one thing I learned today because I'm glad you brought up when Kansas City played Baltimore, Baltimore stomped them out. I think it was like week 8, week 7. So sometimes even though you want to lean over to that week and say uh Buffalo stomped them, I got Buffalo winning against Baltimore. But this was not like I don't want to say it's going to be a boat race. So I'm not saying confidently. I'm just saying like
Because of what happened that
no, I wanted to bring up because I learned today when Cincinnati was saying, even though they played that week, but this team's still kind of different if they play tomorrow.
week. Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Even though I know you can still keep pieces of Mahomes. I mean, for example, well, in this case, yeah, like, but I just think that he also said that, yeah, but with the trades, injuries, and uh, sometimes a formula could change into the team system. He said, yeah, they play both Buffalo, bust KC, but KC's a better team from that week, from what people are saying. So
I get it.
by me saying that, you still rather see Buffalo than Baltimore.
Yeah, because I really am a big, strong believer in momentum and then that whole chip on your shoulder because you lost to them. It's not because you're expecting the same results, but
You want
because you lost to them,
Kansas City, you want to take
Kansas
away
City is
the
going
loss.
to be like, you know what, we want to bust
But
them.
it's not just the one loss. I don't have the second loss again because like I said, nobody in the got on for that one. But yeah, I think the only one loss they got was the spanking they got from Buffalo.
And there was some revenge is going to be on that on them.
Buffalo, because I think Josh Allen and the crew is going to go buck wild. My X factor for Buffalo winning this game is Cook, James Cook. He's not Derrick Henry. He's not Lamar Jackson. But if Josh Allen can get somebody he can compliment, and then what's the name they just traded for at the wide receiver spot that used to play for Cleveland. He used to play for Dak. Um, what's the name he got traded at? He's a known wide receiver. Like if he
Cooper, Murray Cooper, yeah.
Cooper, if he steps up, like but I'm just saying. But I think the X factor will be for because if you can keep Baltimore's offense off the field, because defensive wise, yeah, they're great. They're a below grade defense. I don't want to say good because I think saying good is disrespectful.
Baltimore is
I think
their playoff
great.
defense. They're in the low
Yeah,
tier of the playoff defense, but they're a playoff defense.
yeah.
Give them credit for
You
that.
know what I'm saying? So I don't want to say good because I think saying good is disrespectful. I want to say below grade.
Yeah.
And I think Buffalo's offense, if James Cook could go off and get like 150 yards on the ground to 180. If you can get like Derrick Henry numbers, but he's not Derrick Henry, maybe more carries, and you try to limit Baltimore's offense, I think that's the formula to be Baltimore. I think the Buffalo Bills have that offense to do that. Um, their defense, I hope Von Miller steps up. I hope this will be one of those Von Miller games. Um, but their defense is also like say like Baltimore. Like it's not. I'm gonna say Baltimore's defense. I could be wrong, but I think Baltimore's defense is better than Buffalo's. But uh, but I got Buffalo winning like 25-23.
That's just about the score I'm thinking about. I'm
For
thinking,
Baltimore's wild card for them to win, I got is it Andrews that played tight end? I
mhm.
think that he because Derrick Henry and Lamar, I don't count them as wild card because they're studs. But I think that if you would say which one of your third player that could step up for them to help him win, if to be Buffalo, I think it'd be Andrew. What would be your X factor for both teams?
So I'm gonna start off with Baltimore. The X factor, believe it or not, will be big. Their wide receiver. Because with the uncertainty with Zay Flowers, um, yeah, Andrews, I could see Buffalo targeting on Andrews, but Lamar has a rapport with Bateman, several touchdowns over the year, through this season. And I think he had one last game. Yeah, yeah, the one last weekend. So there's a chemistry there. So I think when in doubt, instead of going to Andrews, if he's like covered by three people, hit Bateman. So I think Bateman's for Baltimore. For Buffalo, I have to agree with you on Cook. That combination of Allen and Cook is similar to Henry and Lamar. And
I don't want to compare to the
it's
Ravens.
not they're not the same. I mean, but it's similar. I mean, they can both kill you, and
It's the game plan.
they both can kill you with that RPO.
Since they departed from Stephon Diggs, it's been Cook that kind of like stepped up.
Yeah,
You know, and
and he can catch it from the backfield. So, like, I definitely agree with you. Him being the next factor on that. It's going to be a really good game. I mean, this is probably going to be the most anticipated game.
so out of the games that we have left this weekend, Thurman, which one you have as an upset?
I have honestly, I think I picked the favorites on all of them. But if there was an upset to happen, which I don't think will this weekend, will be the Rams Philly. Um, I think that's going to be an upset. I think every other game is going to be pretty much taken care of by that favorites, with the exception of Baltimore and Buffalo, because that's pretty much a toss up. Um,
I have the upset for me would be Texans and the Chiefs. I mean, because even though I spoke about the Chiefs' pass rush, their offense is kind of what remains for me is which offense is going to show up. But if the Texans beat the Chiefs for me, Chiefs this weekend for me, I think that'll be the highest upset because I don't have Tex. I never had Texas doing anything, and I have the Chiefs as as is going to the Super Bowl. I even have the Chiefs even if they win, they three-peat. So if Texans beat the Chiefs, you take them out on the first chill. Not only you take them out of the three-peat, but it'd be the first time somebody take them out before the AFC championship because the Chiefs have been in the AFC championship every year. So if you take them out now, I think to me that's the biggest upset. I mean,
a monumental upset,
that
but I don't think that's an upset that can happen. I think out of all the upsets that can happen,
all that, but that's what I'm saying. But you saying that if because you 100% believe that the Chiefs won. I'm giving the Chiefs 80% chance of winning that game.
I don't think it's
You
going
got
to
100%.
be much.
So what do you think that be more of an upset than the Rams and the Eagles? I'm not saying the Rams and Eagles wouldn't be an upset because we both picked the Eagles, but we're not surprised if the Rams offense go on, right? But
That it's so much of it. It'll be so much of a monumental upset that I don't think it will. You will see this upset.
compared to the okay, well, yeah,
I don't
that
think you'll see this upset. I think more likely what you'll see is the Rams and Eagles. if the Rams beat the Eagles, that'd be an upset that you're most likely will see.
Because the Eagles go on to the Super Bowl.
I do, and I definitely that's where I'm really nervous about that game.
To me, even though you got the Lions, and people think, well, why not picking the Lions? If Washington picked the Lions. But the thing is like, all right, but if I compare the Lions to the Chiefs,
Well, it's the same philosophy I have with the Chiefs. I
right,
mean, like I 100% think, even though I think this is going to be a closer game, but I do think the Lions. There's no way the Lions is losing this game.
well, the reason why I'm not picking the Lions is because I'm not going to go on that. I don't think it's going to be a close game. I think I got the Lions overwhelming. I got the Lions offense overwhelming, even though their defense stepped up, but I got their offense overwhelming Washington. So that's why I kind of look at it like it can't lose this game because you're like overwhelmingly going to overwhelm them. My problem with KC is which offense is going to show up. Their defense, and then if their defense stay fresh defensively, they can play. They can handle Houston because which offense Houston is going to step up. I don't see Houston like you can't compare Houston's offense to the Lions, right? I can't even compare. And as much as I like CJ Stroud, I can't even compare their offense to the Commanders. Like if Texans play the Commanders, like hypothetically, who you got playing? Who you got going between Washington and Texas? Right? Let's say hypothetically. See what I'm saying? So that's why I kind of like if the Texans beat the Chiefs, even though if Commanders beat the Lions, like being upset, yeah, but if they beat the Chiefs, like look at the like you said, monumental of it to be the first team in what 10 years? How many tries that they've been the AFC representatives. Besides Super Bowl, they're the AFC ambassadors. And you take them out not at the end. You're not even taking them out at the AFC Championship game. You took them out before they even got there. So that to me is why it's like the biggest upset, besides the Rams and the Eagles.
What do you guys think? Let us know in the comments. This is a very interesting weekend this weekend.
Yeah.
A lot of great games. Four amazing games this weekend. You guys need to know. We'll give you a quick the TV schedule because we're just that great in upper level. So the Saturday game is going to be Texans Chiefs. It's on ESPN, which is crazy. I never remember them having a divisional game.
Peacock and all the other
It's on ESPN and ABC, so it's at 4:30 on Saturday, followed by on Fox, Washington and Lions playing at 8 o'clock, and then Sunday's game we got the Rams versus the Eagles at 3 o'clock on NBC, and then Ravens and Bills on CBS at 6:30. I don't know why they came in. Oh, see, because Sunday and CBS. So you got your lineups, you got your squares. Like, comment, shares. Let us know what you guys think, man. It's gonna be a fun weekend.
Let's go over the Patriots real fast. Vrabel already became the head coach, and I'm hearing that they're trying to get the former offensive coordinator, Josh McDaniels. What do you think of that?
Um, I think it's a really shitty move that what happened to Gerard Mayo. But at the same time, if you're gonna get a coach, this is the coach you get. So I'm not knocking it 100%, and to get Josh McDaniels just makes sense. Keep that offense flowing.
I think Josh McDaniels is a great choice as far as offensive coordinator because I think he's always been a great offensive coordinator than he was a head coach. So and bringing him back in the Patriots building, he knows crowds, he knows the system, he knows everything. So bringing him in there, I think is the right choice.
No.
Uh,
Uh, my name is Thurman. You catch me on any Instagram, up and level platform.
I'm Cyrus. Catch me on Hype Man OV on I don't know if TikTok's still gonna be around, but Instagram and that's my PS5.
And if anything, we'll do one more for TikTok. But
Hopefully not, but it seems like we
it
seems like
looks like a prediction that like it's gonna happen.
get on Red Zone. We can yang yang.
Like, comment, subscribe. Peace. Stay up.